Hey, good afternoon, sports fans, PB&Z, Sports Chaos. We're coming back at you this week as we teased you last week. We're going to do a little fantasy. No, not that kind of fantasy, guys out there. Fantasy baseball talk. This week, we'll run through. PB will give you his picks, top 5 at every position. I'll tell you where he made a mistake, and you let us know during Facebook updates. All right. Hey, I got to do this real quick, a little 2-minute drill, because a lot of stuff is happening this week. Last week, we told you Ivy League was going to be the catalyst for football. They called off the season. No fall sports at the Ivy League this year. Soon after that, the Big Ten followed up. They didn't cancel all of it, but all non-conference games, followed by last night, the Pac-12 came out and did the same. I will tell you this, the biggest impact on that is for teams like BYU. 5 games are now off their schedule. They had 5 games between those two conferences. Notre Dame, 3 games off their schedule. ACC hasn't made a decision yet. They play 5 to 6 games every year against Notre Dame. Will they chase the money, PB? Will they continue to play non-conference games and bring Notre Dame into more games this year? We'll see. I don't know. I got a little DYK for you. Speaking of the Ivy League, what did Ivy League bring to football back in the early 1900s? Do you know?
No.
The forward pass, 1906. Believe it or not, in 1905, 18 players were killed in Ivy League football. The presidents want to cancel football altogether. They came out with a forward pass to prevent deaths. Go figure, the forward pass saved lives. Interesting thought there. All right. Hey, I got a little other thing about Ivy League. They're the ones that cemented the way the football field is today, 100 yards and 53.5 yards wide. You know why? Harvard Stadium, which has been around since 1900, could not go any further or else they would be in the stands, and they couldn't do that. So, PB, you're the hockey guy in the house. NHL says they start the 2021 season on 12/1 with the end of the regular season this year and playoffs no later than 10/2. I prefer a New Year's Day kickoff, 12/1 or 1/1. What would you think?
It's going to be a pretty quick sprint here down the stretch. I think a little bit more time off between getting into the next season would probably be beneficial for everybody.
Yeah, why not New Year's Day, right? Hey,
yeah.
We'd be remiss not to mention other sports because some of our fans has asked us. So the UFC tonight is on Fight Island in Dubai. WTF. I don't even know what Dubai is. Do you know where it is?
It's in the Middle East somewhere.
Somewhere. Usami versus Mastafall, I believe is how you say it. That's the headline. I don't like this kid, Mastafall. I know he's the fighter of the year in the MMA last year, but go get him, Usami. All right. Hey, speaking of kicking all around, little round things and chasing around the field, MLS kicked off this weekend, Wednesday, down in Florida as well. Why are all these teams playing in Florida? I don't know. Nashville, though, they can't play. 9 positive tests. Does that mean they forfeit? I don't know. Who knows how this plays out anymore, right? Speaking of chasing the ball, get this one, another little soccer thing. In the Premier League, PB, a guy named Lazio Patrick. Do you know what he has in common with Mike Tyson right now?
I don't, Russ.
He got suspended 4 games for biting a guy during a match. How do you bite a guy in a soccer game? I don't get it. All right, moving on. NFL, big news this week. Patrick Mahomes, 10 years, $450 million with a max potential of $503. That's $500 million they're going to play this player. Honestly, I've said it before about the Packers and the contract they gave to A-Rod. I think this will kill these guys. I know it's supposedly going to be cap-friendly at some point in time. I don't know how $45 million a year is cap-friendly, but we'll see. Hey, and one last thing on football. Cam Newton officially signed his contract Wednesday for $1 million and $1. DYK, Cam Newton set a rushing record back in his rookie year. Most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback. PB, do you know whose record he broke?
Michael Vick?
No! I knew this the minute I read it. Steve Grogan, 1976, 12 touchdowns for the Patriots. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
All right, let's get to MLB. First of all, they're trying to kick this thing off. I hope they do, but guys are backing out left and right. Now David Price has opted out. He's done. Buster Posey's out. Nick Markakis from the Braves, he's out. And this one surprised me. A 24-year-old Michael Kupchak. If you remember, Michael was traded along with Juan Yuncada for Chris Sale Seal and Yankata are on DL. They're out for the rest of the year. That means all the guys in that trade are no longer playing this year. That's unbelievable. All right. Hey, by the way, only 1.8% of the players tested positive. Maybe that's a good news thing. I don't know. We'll see. All right, let's do the fantasy thing, PB. Take it away.
All right, so a lot of you are going to be drafting in these upcoming days, getting ready for the Major League Baseball season. Especially, we might see a bigger influx of fantasy baseball players, and that's because we've just been so long without sports, and people are probably itching to get involved at some level. So, a couple things as you move into this draft. First and foremost is you got to watch out for injuries. People who are injury prone in the Major League Baseball, we know how wimpy players can get. They get the hangnail and they're out for 3 weeks, right? So you got to be very mindful of that. The other thing is if you're in a league where you have to pick by position, which most are, try to get a guy into a position that can be put into multiple positions. If he's eligible in other positions, especially if he's a good outfielder and you can get him into a second base or third base or first base position, that leaves you more room to draft more studs in the outfield. So just a couple strategies going into it. And I'm going to start in the infield. I'm going to start with first base. And my number one pick, I'm going to give you the top 5 actually by position. I'll give you a couple extra starting pitchers and outfielders. When you get to first base, my number one pick is Cody Bellinger with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, many people might be saying, well, he's an outfielder. He's ranked in the top 2 or 3 as an outfielder. But if you can get him and get him into your first base position, that'll give you more room for other outfielders. But you should have Cody Bellinger on your roster. For first base, the next 4 I have is Freddie Freeman for the Atlanta Braves. I have Alfonso with the Mets. I have Anthony Rizzo with the Cubs. And then finally, a little bit down on a lot of draft boards is Rice Hoskins with the Philadelphia Phillies. Those are my top 5. And I do have a sleeper as well. He just got hurt a couple of days ago in practice, but I really like Max Muncy as well for the Los Angeles Dodgers. So that would be 2 Dodgers there at first base, but obviously one of them will play the outfield because Muncy's also a multi-position person. He'd be good value as well.
Let me ask you a quick question, PB. So you mentioned injuries, but the other thing is the virus, right? You get the virus positive, I think you have to quarantine for 2 weeks, right? So you're on the shelf then. And if I'm not mistaken, didn't Freddie Freeman, isn't he positive? So he's out 2 weeks right now off the bat, right?
Could be, but then at least when he comes back, he'll be back for good. You don't have to worry about him
if he's healthy. Hey, I got a question for you. Where's Joey Gallo? Did I say Gallo? Oh, I meant Callow. Cousin Vinny. He's one of those guys, right? He can go first base, outfield, correct? I like him. I think about putting him on the roster. I also, you know what? Another guy I like a lot, Jose Abreu, right?
Oh, yeah. Abreu. Yeah. He's
Abreu.
White Sox, right?
You're going to like Mitchie Two Bags because he starts the season every year on fire for about 2 months, which is all this season's going to last. He's a great 2-month player. So I don't know, man. Who knows? Right. And then there's Paul Goldschmidt from St. Louis, another guy I like. So
yep,
right,
I agree. All right, those are all considerations, and you can't really go wrong with those guys as well.
No.
Let's look at second base. Second base, I got Jose Altuve. It's my number 1 person in that spot. I know you're not a big Altuve fan, but let's face it, numbers. He steals bases. He's a good player. He scores a lot of runs. Ozzie Albies as my second-ranked second baseman for Atlanta. My third-ranked one, and I actually have 2 Yankees here at second base, but again, it's because of the position changes. Gleyber Torres. A lot of people have him in there as a shortstop, but again, a guy, if you can get him in at second base and then give yourself more options at shortstop, would be a good move there.
Good point.
Whitfield for Kansas City. He's a machine. He can steal a lot of bases for you. And then my 5th one is DJ LeMahieu for the New York Yankees. My sleeper at second base is going to be the son of Craig Biggio, Kevin Biggio. He's up.
Oh, I was going to say him as well. Nice. All right, good one.
Playing for the Blue Jays, but he's a sleeper pick. He's down there in the rankings, but he could have a good year.
All right. The only other guy I might consider over LeMahieu is John Villar. Villar, I think how you say it, from the Marlins. So, all right. What do you got? Are you going third base or shortstop next?
That's a good pick. I'm going to go shortstop. Number 1, Francisco Lindor with Cleveland. I think number 1 by far. One of my favorite shortstops in the league with the Colorado Rockies, Trevor Story. That guy can hit the long ball, especially in Colorado.
In Colorado, yeah.
I got the X-Man at third. It's ranked third here for shortstops. The
I'm with you on that. Good pick there.
Okay. I like Trey Turner for the Washington Nationals. I think he's a great base stealer. He can do a lot of stuff for you. And I have Baez as my fifth ranked shortstop with the Cubs. My sleeper at shortstop is Juan Segura for the Philadelphia Phillies.
Ooh. I'm surprised you didn't have one of the other pukes out in there from the Astros, Carlos Correa, who's usually up in the league leaders, right?
I know. I tried to avoid a lot of the Astros just because they're on my nerves.
Yeah. How about this one? I got a sleeper for you. Marcus Semien from the A's. He projects to 33 homers and 117 RBIs this year.
Okay, yeah, that would
that's some hit, man.
Can't go wrong with that pick at all.
What do you got third base?
Moving on to third base. Number one, Nolan Arenado for the Colorado Rockies. I have the
another guy whose stats should have an asterisk on it playing in Colorado.
Yeah. I mean, he's a great player, anyways. But and I love him and Story as a 1-2 punch on that team. I got Raffy at ranked second here at third base. Raffy,
I would agree.
Yeah, he had a great year last year. He came on strong. He's just well disciplined, good player, good hitter. Chris Bryant for the Cubs. I have Manny Machado. I know you're not a fan of him.
No.
Over in San Diego. And then I have Ramirez with the Cleveland Indians as my fifth-ranked third baseman. So Chapman for Oakland is my sleeper, Matt Chapman.
I'm with you on that. That's a good sleeper. I was going to ask you.
Okay. And then notice not on my list is Bregman.
The other puke, yes.
The other puke.
Yes.
And I don't have Rendon. Rendon's a good third baseman, too, for the LA Angels. I don't have
Yes, he is. Yeah, coming over from the Nationals, right, Anthony? Yeah. Anthony Rendon. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about Justin Turner from the Dodgers? You got them going all the way. He's one of their better producers.
Yeah, I know. I left some good guys. At third base is a pretty cool.
I would say you're right. Third base is probably the toughest one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I'm going to stay in the infield and take us through the catches. Now, catches are tough in fantasy. They usually don't do a lot for you. Most leagues, they'll require you to have a catcher.
Oh, wow.
It's kind of like tight end. Well, not in today's world, but it was like tight ends in the NFL back 10, 15 years ago. Even today, you could make the argument. There's like one or two or three tight ends that you really want. And then there's like a huge drop-off, right?
Right.
Here, I only see one catcher, Real Muto for the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah.
He's the catcher that's even ranked in the top 100. I think you drop down to 150 overall ranking for the next best catcher, which would be the likes of like a Gary Sanchez for the Yankees or Grandal for the Chicago White Sox, former Dodger. So those two are also up there, number 2 and 3. I have Contreras with the Cubs and Ramos, both named Wilson, by the way, one with 2 L's, one with 1 L.
Right.
Wilson Contreras for the Cubs and Wilson Ramos for the Mets is my 4th and 5th catchers.
I would say the one guy, again, because of the short season, Christian Vasquez, who came on offensively last year and in a short period of time can produce well, right? He doesn't
He'd be a good
well
sleeper.
for the long haul.
Yeah.
All right, give us outfield, man. What do you got for the outfield?
Yeah. So outfielder, I'll go a little bit deeper. I think far and away, Christian Yelich is probably the number 1 outfielder for the Brewers. Acuna Jr., just an outstanding season last year. He can do a lot for you. I think he's the next and better than Mookie Betts. Still has obviously many years to go to get to that repeat status of being at that stature for the Braves. I have him as 2. Mike Trout, can't leave out Mike Trout, right? He's fallen off. He was the number one for the last several years. I got him as my 3rd outfielder, but you could make an argument that these are probably the top 3 best players in the entire league as well. So Mookie Betts sitting at 4th. We'll see how he does with the Dodgers. And then Bryce Harper in Philly. I'm really hoping Bryce Harper just had like one of those off years last year. Maybe he had a nagging injury that we didn't really know about. He can come back this year and really produce. Then after that, I wanted to go a little bit deeper for you at outfield because typically you select 3 outfielders, for your fantasy team. So we have Juan Soto, fantastic year last year, rookie season, right?
Yeah, I was going to add him. Yep.
Okay, JD Martinez, another puke from Houston, George Springer. Can't go wrong with him. I like both of the Marte brothers in Arizona. You have Sterling Marte and also Kettle Marte.
Whoa, yeah.
really like this kid out of Minnesota, Eddie Rosario. So there's about a couple, almost 10 outfielders for you there to look for. My sleeper, if you want to get kind of deep, Alex Verdugo for the Boston Red Sox.
Whoa! The guy that's on the hot seat getting traded for Mookie and David Price, huh? Oh, hey, I am very shocked. You mentioned Springer. I was going to say that as much as we don't want to mention those Stros. But you didn't mention anybody from the damn Yankees. Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton. They're both healthy thanks to the delay here. And those two could get on a tear in 60 games. And who knows? They could probably hit 50 home runs, you know? Wow.
Can't go wrong.
I'm a little surprised. The other one that's a little bit off the radar, how about, I can't know, is it George or Jorge Soler for the Minnesota Twins? 48 home runs, 117 RBIs last year.
Yep, that would be another good pick. That's not even cheaper. That's just a great pick. Yep, you can get outfielders in later rounds, you know, and fill out that team. I think the strategy is get those guys who can play multiple positions, and maybe you can get an outfielder or two that can play second or third base or first base. So,
all right, give us your pitches.
Pitches. So let's go ahead and start with the relief pitches, and we'll wrap up with starting pitches. How's that sound?
All right.
So I got Yates, the reliever for the San Diego Padres, as number 1, and I have Josh Hader out of Milwaukee as my number 2. Josh,
he's nasty.
He was a setup guy. He never really got into the closer role. He's got potential to be there, but I do like Yates. He's got more experience there. He's been doing it longer. Jansen for the Dodgers, stud, and just by sheer opportunities, that team's going to win a ton of games. I got Hand for Cleveland. And then at number 5, I have Chapman for the New York Yankees. My sleeper is Diaz with the Mets. And you'll notice I left off a couple of guys who a lot of people have ranked high, but I think they have them ranked high because the teams they're on. Osuna for Houston, used to play for the Blue Jays. I never liked him as a closer. And then I also left off no, that's it, just him. He's the only guy I think that people will take high.
The only other guy I would think about is also for the Yankees, Adam Ottavino, right?
Okay. Oh, yeah.
They made a move to get him a year ago, so we'll see. All right, give us your starters.
All right, starters number 1 across the board. I think most of the drafters, he could be number 1 pick overall in some leagues, is Garrett Cole for the New York Yankees. He's going to win a lot of games, strikes a lot of batters, poised, like Clemens-esque kind of guy. He's just, you know, big Texas product, right?
Yeah.
Then you have Jacob deGrom with the New York Mets, my number 2. Max Scherzer over at Washington is number 3. Justin Verlander on Houston is number 4. And then some people might be surprised by this one. I have Aaron Nola.
Whoa.
The Phillies is my number 5. I really think this kid can pitch. I really like him. In most leagues, you'll see him down as like the 15th to 20th ranked pitcher. I actually have him as my number 5. He'd be a good gamble. If you can get him on your team, I'd do it. Then you see the likes of Buehler with the Dodgers, Greinke at Houston. I like Mike Clevenger with Cleveland. Can't go wrong with Steven Strasburg in Washington. So if you want to get 9 or 10 pitches out of me, those are the guys I'm going to give you. And my sleeper, another Red Sox product, Erod, Eduardo Rodriguez. He's a sleeper to have a good year.
He is a sleeper. He's got the virus as well. We'll have to see how he fares coming and getting over that. So we'll see. All right, man. Those are good picks. I like them. I was wondering if you were going to have Zach Greinke in there because I was going to pick him over Nola, but you added him in. So there you go. All right. So next week we'll give you some predictions on the AL and then the NL.
Yes.
Those will be our upcoming shows, sports fans. So PB&Z, anything else before we sign off?
No, I think we're in a good spot right now trying to get some of these sports off the ground. So it'll give us even more stuff to talk about. We've been laying in on the NFL for the last 8 weeks with our predictions. We can move to baseball now, and then we'll start talking hockey and basketball. It should be pretty fun.
All right, PB&Z, Sports Chaos. Have a great weekend, fans. Stay healthy, stay well.